Hello, sweetest potatoes. As the saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy, and comparison is also the thief of creativity. And I couldn't agree more. Yes, I just had a baby, so I took some time off of the hamster wheel. If you guys missed all of that, I'll link my 9-month love letter to my son down below. But while I was offline, I was questioning my existence online as well as in real life because I started comparing myself to other people, to fellow creators, and to my former self. This is the reality we're now living in, especially for social media. Something like YouTube vanity metrics are displayed for everyone to see. All you have to do is click a few buttons and you can see how other people are doing, how their videos are performing, or you can click a few more buttons and check out someone's LinkedIn profile, or you can tap and stalk someone on Instagram. Just like that. And as we're viewing their highlight reels online, looking at their accomplishments, looking at all the amazing things that they've done, we start feeling smaller and smaller and smaller about ourselves. This is something that I'm sure we all go through. To compare ourselves and to feel jealous are all very universal and valid feelings, very similar to something like happiness and sadness. And they're not good or bad, just like how all feelings aren't good or bad. It's simply a signal or a data point for us to take a step back and spend some time reflecting on why we're feeling the way we're feeling. But I think we can all agree that our lives will be a lot lighter and brighter without constantly comparing ourselves to other people, hence this video. So, what exactly is comparison and jealousy? How are they related? Why do we do it? And what is the one mindset shift that has helped me the most in living my best, carefree, non-comparing life? It's been a while, friends. I'm so excited to get back to classic Rowena content. For this new video series, I'd like to unofficially call it For Potato. I'm creating it with my baby in mind and perhaps his siblings down the line. Some parents open an inbox for their kids when they're first born and frequently send emails to this inbox as the kid is growing, and on their 18th birthday, gift it to them. So Jams and I were inspired by this and we're like, okay, let's take it a step further. If we can make this super special and meaningful for our kid, what could we do? So we decided to build a website to house many things, including this video and all the videos to come that will explore all the feels. There's also a place where we'll house all our memories. We also want to come up with a series of 8 questions where we ask them every single year on their birthday from when they're 1 up until whenever we decide to give this to them. And we also want to write an annual letter to our kids, kind of like Warren Buffett's annual letters to the shareholders, something like that, but for our family. As I mentioned, for the past year or so, I was so busy comparing myself to other people and feeling very small about myself that I haven't had time to work this part of my brain. And the fact that I built this website in 2 days while being a mom, it tickled a part of my brain that hasn't been tickled in so long. So thank you so much to Framer for partnering with me on this video. Whatever website you're thinking of building, whether it's something like this, your portfolio, or a website for your small business, you can do it all easily. You don't need to know how to code. If you'd like to learn more about Framer, you can check the link in my description box and sign up for free, or use my code Rowena to get 25% off for 3 months. Let's get into this video. So what is comparison and jealousy? If you're like, I know what comparison and jealousy is, you don't need to explain to me. Hear me out. This is actually really interesting. With comparison, there's upward comparison. There's also downward comparison. For upward comparison, it could motivate or deflate you. For downward comparison, it could comfort or inflate you. As we can see, comparison could be a good thing, like everything else in life. Within positives, there could be negatives, and within negatives, there could be positives. And when used mindfully, comparison could help motivate and comfort us, but I know this isn't the case for most of us. Cue jealousy. Besties with comparison, cousin of envy, and the offspring of fear. At its core, jealousy often signals, I'm afraid of losing something that's important to me. A romantic partner, a friend, career, your success, accomplishments, confidence, appearance, status. And what all of this boils down to is fear. There are so many layers to this emotional onion. This is important because it shows just how complex our emotions are and how deep down the rabbit hole we can go if we try. And how are all of these things related? Comparison is the habit of what we do, fear is the fuel, and jealousy is the flame of what you feel. When I log on to YouTube and I see how someone's doing, or I hop onto Instagram and I see how someone's doing, I start comparing myself to them. And then I feel threatened in some way, even if it's subconscious, even if I'm not aware of it. And this is where fear starts coming in. What if I'm not good enough? What if they're better than me? And then I feel jealous. And then I compare myself more to them. And then I feel more jealous. And then it's this toxic feedback loop that just keeps repeating itself endlessly, unless you decide to do something about it. So comparison and jealousy truly are two very toxic besties who are simultaneously dragging each other down while egging each other on. So why does this happen? It's because we're human. For eons and eons and eons, our status, skills, and desirability compared to other people can mean better access to resources, mates, and protection. Comparison also helped us determine how to behave and where to fit in, aka social acceptance, which is very important, especially if you're thinking of the hunter and gather era. If you are not in a tribe, if you are alone by yourself, you will be hunted and you will be gathered. And in the current world that we're living in, from industrialization to the American dream, to consumerism, to social media, to highlight reels, it sheds an even more specific spotlight on what society values, like status, appearance, and wealth. And again, this is all very natural and very normal. As humans, we have this innate drive to evaluate ourselves, especially our abilities and our worth. It's also a form of identity and validation. And since most of us lack objective standards, we tend to compare ourselves to other people as reference points and use them as benchmarks of how well or not well we are doing. In other words, we measure ourselves to other people's success, relationships, achievements, looks, and get all caught up in our feels because we're looking for external validation. As a society, we've also evolved, for better or worse, to lack the proper framework and therefore benchmark to view the world and ourselves through. So what's the proper framework, Rowena? There are plenty. This is the one that's helped me the most and is the most grounding when my intrusive thoughts are running wild. For what I'm about to share, if it's a little too something, too woo-woo for you, just treat it as a little fictional tale that you can decide to believe in or not. While I'll be sharing principles from Buddhism as well as my spiritual practice, Falun Dafa, these are just my current understandings where I'm at. First, we zoom out, like all the way out. For thousands of years, Buddhism has taught the principles of karma, which is the moral consequence of past actions. There's good karma and there's bad karma, or if you're more visual, you can think of it as white substance and black substance. When you do good deeds, you accumulate the white substance or good karma, and when you do bad deeds, you accumulate the black substance or bad karma. As the teachings go, the more white substance you accumulate in your life, the better off your life will be, and the more black substance you accumulate in life, the more you will suffer. And here's the kicker. In Buddhism, there's this concept of reincarnation. So not only does karma matter in this lifetime, it is also passed down from previous lives or past lives and will continue to influence your future lives. And if all you do is accumulate the black substance, the best way to describe this visually is in Hotel de Luna. There are vengeful spirits that even after intervention to do better or to forgive or to let go, they don't. They want to continue doing bad things to people that have wronged them. They end up vaporizing and just completely disintegrating, which means in this context that they no longer have the chance to reincarnate. And why is this important? It is also believed that humans exist on this earth as a quote-unquote final test to see if they can return back from where they came from in this world of illusions. If you are blocked from seeing the truth, are you still interested in seeking enlightenment, seeking the Tao, seeking the way, which will ultimately allow you to return to the heavenly realms that you came from? It is also believed that the human realm is perfectly balanced, kind of what we're talking about earlier about with positive there's negatives and with negatives there's positives. The world isn't so blissful that we forget to seek enlightenment like we would if we lived in the heavenly realms, and it's also not so painful that we're just constantly consumed by suffering like down under. Now, who's keeping tab on all of this? The universe. If you like to believe in a creator, God, gods. So within this framework. If you've ever thought, how come bad things always happen to good people, and how come good things always happen to bad people, and how come it always seems like bad people get away from doing whatever they want with absolutely no consequences? It's believed that we can't just look at this one lifetime. Yes, someone may do all these amazing things in their life, but if they don't have enough white substance or good karma built up from the previous lives, they may be suffering more in this life, and the more that they accumulate of the white substance in this life, maybe in their next life, their life will be a little easier. And similarly, for someone that is always just doing the worst things and is just not a good person, they may appear like they are getting everything they want in life. Maybe because they did a lot of good things in their previous lives and they're wasting it in this lifetime by doing all of these bad things, right? And so in their next life, maybe they may not have a next life, or maybe in their next life, they will be a good person suffering, or they'll just be suffering, period. So just because we currently live in this timeline, I think within our culture, within YOLO, within just the society that we live in, we've been trained, conditioned, what's a better word? I don't know. We just grow up thinking that it's just this one lifetime and this is all that matters. And we just focus so much on what other people are doing and how come their life is like this, how come my life is like this, without thinking about, if we take a step back, if we zoom out to not just this current timeline, but the multiple timelines and how it all influences each other. And this is why relationships, right? There's karmic relationships between people, not just in this lifetime, but also in the past. Why did someone treat you so poorly? Maybe because you treated them poorly in the past. And this can also explain why you're so close to some people, because in your past lives, maybe you helped each other, maybe you struggled together, maybe you really lended a hand when someone is in need and they came back in this lifetime to repay their debt. When I think of the word debt, like, it doesn't sound good. Like, I don't want to ever be indebted to someone, but I think this is actually a very intricate dance that, again, the universe keeps track of to balance everything. Yeah. Okay. So let's come back down to earth. How does this relate to comparison and jealousy? Let's zoom in. Let's zoom all the way in. When we start comparing ourselves to other people and feeling small about ourselves, if we're able to take a step back and think about, okay, yes, like, they do look like their life is perfect. They do look like they have it all. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe because they're just such upstanding citizen and just the best humans in their past life, that the universe, the creator, whoever, is blessing them in this life to get whatever they want. It's like how Korean netizens talk about Suzy and how she must have saved the nation in her previous life because she was able to date the guys that she was able to date in this lifetime. This is a very silly example, but it gets the point across. Whenever I catch myself comparing myself to other people, and this doesn't happen all the time, this is still something that I'd actively need to remind myself. If I start comparing myself to other people online, I try to take a step back, remember this framework, and tell myself, yeah, maybe they deserve it. And you deserve it too, if you put in the work and do the things that you're supposed to do and be a good person, not only when other people are around, but also when I am alone by myself. What are the decisions that I can make that can help me become the better version of myself? Instead of going down this super toxic negative feedback loop, I'm able to jump out of it and identify, oh, interesting. Maybe I feel jealous because I'm already questioning myself and my path, and seeing someone who's so confidently walking their own path reminds me of how I don't have it all together. Instead of just wallowing in our feelings, which are valid, and it's something that we can all do if we want to, but if we want to move forward in life and to improve and to grow, this helps us take a step back to really be able to reframe everything. What we see online is almost always never the reality. A lot of what we see is not what it seems. So a lot of people that we compare ourselves to, they're probably comparing themselves to other people, and the people that they're comparing themselves to are comparing themselves to other people. So it's just this endless loop of comparison, and it just doesn't go anywhere, and we just all feel so bad about ourselves. So why not, instead of feeling so small and down, if we can see someone succeeding, if we can see someone doing amazing things, just be like, wow, that is cool. I'm happy for you. I know, it's hard. It's very hard. As I was scripting this video, I hopped onto Instagram. I saw a bunch of my creator friends doing all these amazing things, and I was like, wow, did I miss the train? Where am I now? And how come they're doing all these amazing things and I'm still here? But I took a deep breath. I reminded myself that this is the exact video I'm making right now. And I felt instantly lighter. I was just so happy for them, so happy for my friends, and how lucky I am to be able to know them, to be in their orbit so that we can inspire and motivate each other. When you think of when you are comparing yourself the most to other people, when does it usually happen? For me, it usually happens when I'm questioning myself already, or when I'm already feeling deflated, or when I'm feeling like not confident about myself or my path. Because if you've ever had moments of absolute clarity of like, this is what I must do, this is what I have to do, and I'm going to do it, and you actually doing that thing, you're so focused on your path and you're so focused on your own journey that you don't have time to compare yourself to other people. Right? Isn't that crazy? It's just this interesting thing, this human experience, that while we are feeling down, while we're feeling smaller about ourselves, this is usually when we look externally. When in reality, these are moments that we need to look inward and ask ourselves these questions and remind ourselves, what do we care about? What do we value? What do I want to measure my life on? What do I want these benchmarks to be, rather than looking externally at what other people are doing? So as you can tell, this journey of comparison and feeling jealous and fear and all these emotions jumbled together is an ongoing journey for myself. But this framework is something that I hope can help you and my future bebe, who just woke up from his nap, to just take a step back and remember the things that are important and let go of the things that aren't. And I think a lot of this comparison, these feelings of jealousy, again, although all valid, they take us further and further away from ourselves and from our heart and from our true north. So yeah, that'll be a completely separate video. This could also be another series of Rowena rediscovering or re-coming back to what it means to be me. It feels interesting. Not necessarily weird, not necessarily surreal, but those are just kind of like the words that came up. But to be sitting here in our new home with a baby, still doing what I love doing, being able to share thoughts, feels, learnings with you guys online. And it's almost been 10 years. This is crazy. So for the next video in this series, please let me know down below if there's a specific feeling or situation that you'd like me to explore. We've talked about insecurities before, and I've talked to death about motivation and burnout and all of that. But if there's something new, or if there's something that's just been on your mind that you would like me to do a deep dive on, let me know in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next video. Hug. Bye-bye.